What's up? It's Josh Hewitt. It's time to do with Hewitt. And in this video, I'm just going to follow up on my training progress, my recovery progress from my surgery. So if you just checked out my last video, I outlined the training program I'm doing now that I've been cleared to train. So I can do overhead pull downs, pressing movements. I can basically do almost any exercise now, except I'm starting with lighter resistance. Especially with isolation work for my bicep, I have to train with very light loads because I'm just starting to introduce elbow flexion. So one of the techniques that I've been using to get basically more training results with lighter weight is blood flow restriction, or BFR training, also known as occlusion training. And one of the tools I've been using are these BFR straps. So I'll put a link to check them out down below. It's BFRshop.com, and the ones that I got here are the Pro X straps. And before, I'll actually post some footage of a previous video where I was using basically knee wraps for occlusion training for around the upper arm, and they worked. So if you already have knee wraps, you can definitely use this technique. It was a little bit awkward trying to get the right tension and wrapping it around multiple times. And they were a little bit wider than you'd like ideally. But the nice thing about the BFR bands, the Pro X edition at least, is that you can just put them in place and then pull to adjust. There's a little spring-loaded release, and you pull them and get to the tension that you want to get about 70% of what your max tension would be. So if 10 was like, oh, no blood's getting through, you want it at about a 7. And once you reach that, there's numbers on here so that you can maintain consistent tension each time that you train. The nice thing about this is it takes a loose strap, and it can either use Velcro on here, stick it on, or you can put it through the loop and you get rid of the excess. Same thing other side. Tighten her up and loop the excess around. And again, make sure you got about consistent tension on both sides. And it's a lot quicker than trying to wrap around a knee wrap. Woo! And that's pretty uncomfortable. So you should feel like some tightness around here. You want to let arterial blood flow into the muscle, but restrict the venous blood flow return. So that while you're training, you're getting a pooling of the blood in the muscle, you're getting that pump effect, so you're getting increasing sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, the pump hypertrophy basically, and we're getting a pooling of the growth factors. So like IGF-1, growth hormone, testosterone remains in the muscle for a longer period of time. And you don't want to leave them wrapped for more than 10 to 15 minutes. That'll give you time for 3 or 4 supersets of biceps and triceps. But we're training with a very light load. I'm using about 30% of what I normally would use. So this way I get a good training effect with light weight. So I'm going to demonstrate that. Over here, starting off with triceps. And I'm going to be using a weight that allows me to complete 25 to 30 repetitions on the first set. So it's fairly light. And after that first set, you'll be feeling like your arms are pretty full of blood. And then on subsequent sets, you're going to still aim for 15 to 20 repetitions on each set with the same weight. So nice continuous tension, getting the blood pumping into the muscles. And I've completely lost track of my rep count, but you should feel like you're not using crappy form to pump out the last couple of reps, but that you're getting a pretty deep burn. And then moving into the biceps, same idea. Nice full range of motion with continuous tension, but a relatively light weight. So the nice thing about this, not only is a way to stimulate hypertrophy or muscle growth without using heavy weight, is that for recovery from an injury, whether it's a bicep tear, elbow injury, tricep injury, shoulder problem that doesn't allow you to use heavy weight, you can achieve an excellent muscle growth and strength training effect with very light weight. Save the joints, but still tax the muscle sufficiently. And now, you feel like they're splitting at the seams. Right back over into the push down again. So now I'm aiming for at least 15 to 20 reps on subsequent sets after you get that initial high rep set in. And by this time, you'll have a pretty good idea if you've wrapped them with appropriate tension. Oh, you should feel like they're starting to get really pumped and full of blood and starting to get that uncomfortable burn feeling, but you're not getting too tingly in your fingertips. You can still get a pulse coming through. Like I said, restricting venous blood return, not restricting arterial blood flow into the muscle. So even with this light weight, I'm starting to feel a pretty decent pump and fatigue already setting in to the biceps. In the left arm, this is one of my first workouts introducing direct elbow flexion. Outside of rows and pull downs, I haven't done any direct bicep work. Just one other workout with these bands before now. So the left arm is definitely feeling much weaker than the right. Oh, Jesus. Let's do at least one more. So 3 or 4 supersets in under 15 minutes will get you the training effect you want. Yeah, and now it's really starting to burn in the triceps. Minimal rest between sets. We're just trying to get as much blood into the muscles. Alright, last one. So I'm going to put a link down below with more information on these straps. Definitely worth checking them out. If you want to make this as quick and convenient as possible to get wrapped up, keep it safe, and make sure you can maintain even tension each time, I definitely recommend you check these out. And the Pro X is worth a couple extra bucks. Okay. And also for injury recovery, because of the growth factors that are accumulating in the muscle, ooh yeah, and the light load that's being used, this can also encourage faster recovery. And you can see the difference in the peak now, just a little bit of a gap, since the bicep was also damaged, not just the tendon. So it didn't quite come all the way out as compared to this one. I'm starting to get my size back, function, full range of motion, just strength needs to come up now. So anyway, more information on blood flow restriction posted down below. I'll put a link to my other video on BFR training from back in the days when I actually had arms, somewhere here on the screen. And if you have any questions or comments, post them down below. And until next time,
stay strong.